Hi everyone, we're back at the house and today's episode is going to be a bit of a show and tell. I'm going to show you some of the changes we've made. There have been quite a few. I'm also going to tell you about my trip to the Berger color shop in Sun Plaza. That was interesting and it was fun. And as we discuss, I'm going to tell you about all the things we talked about that we did not record. Those are important details. I also went down to Barbados Light and Power. I'm going to tell you about that. And I'm going to answer some of your questions about insurance. I'm Kelly Johnley and this is Bajan Renovation. So, as we're outside, let's start here. So the last time we were at the house, this was not here, and this was not here. Remember last time I was here, before this block work went in, I was telling you that the contractor said that he needed to square up the house. And honestly, I did not see what he was seeing, but he was saying to me, Mistress, because remember your name is now Mistress, if we don't square up the house, when we do the block work is not going to be straight. It is not going to be in line with the rest of the house. Now that they have done it, I can actually see what he's saying. They needed to bring out the block work a bit so that this wall would be flush with the other one and that you would not see a sharp turn when the block work went up. So remember last time we were here, there was formwork at the front and formwork at the side. This is the result of that formwork, which made the way for this. Another change, the one that I am personally most excited about, is the enclosing of the master bedroom. Now, if you're a Bajan Renovation OG, because I think we have OGs now, you will know that the front of this house looked nothing like this. We have reclaimed the patio, and in doing that, we also had to seal off what would have been the front door. We sealed that off so that we can now have an enclosed master bedroom. We now have an enclosed living room, and you might be able to see some of the remnants of the patio's former life. And if you're wondering, yes, we have preserved the window, because you know we painstakingly removed that window. That was a whole show by itself. The window is safe and sound in storage. Two of them are safe and sound in storage. And yes, I did ask if they measured enough space for the window to go back in. I have been assured, Mistress, because you know your name is Mistress, there's at least 1.5 inches on both sides. So the window is coming back when the block work is done. So we're now standing at what was the garage, or what is now being converted into the extended living, dining, kitchen area. So as a part of the extension, a lot of prep work is taking place right now. One of the things that I was pleasantly surprised to come and see is that a foundation has been dug right here. What is the foundation dug for? Well, remember, this is going to be enclosed. So in order for us to do the block work and put in the door, what will be the new front door, they had to dig a foundation. So that's ready. This is just here for safety. This moment is brought to you by Amina Highland at Mix Fit Training. Oh my gosh. So guys, that's where our foundation is going. Similarly, the foundation that is being dug at the front is also being dug in a parallel position at the back so that we can enclose here. Now I know it might ask the question, okay, so what is going on in this space? Good question. We do not have a laundry or a utility area. So that's the reason why we did not take all of this space for a kitchen, living, dining area. We need to place a laundry/utility area, and it's going to be a shared space between the main house and the apartment. Now, if you take a look up, you're going to remember from a previous episode, we would have highlighted that formwork was going up. This formwork is for the raising of the roof. You'll also notice some beams. This is so that when we pour the concrete, we can place the blocks and that will be a secure structure. The reason we're raising the roof is so that we can get more square footage. Now I know when you think about square footage, we tend to think about the floor area, but this is a small unit. So the higher the roof, the larger the place is going to feel, but it also allows us to carry the cupboards higher, meaning that we'll have more storage in the house. Also, it allows me to put in my pretty lighting fixtures, which is something very hard to do if you have a low roof, which is what this house had. Now, I recently went to the Berger color studio, and I'm glad I went, because normally when we think about paint, we think about color. We naturally go there, but a lot of our discussion actually centered around preparing the walls. One thing that I didn't know, actually there were a few things I didn't know, because outside of picking the color white, I am no expert on paint, that it's important to distinguish if you are painting, if you're doing a renovation, if you are covering over paint that is here, if you have any mold, if you have any stripping. All of these are things that in the preparation process for painting, they were able to guide me through. And then of course, helping me to select the right paints for the space. I don't know if you missed it, but check the aerial shot. Every room in this house is a different color. And in my heart, I am defaulting to white. So one of the things that we had actually discussed at Berger is the fact that, not that I'm at all afraid of color, but I really do not like too much choice dilemma. And much like when you see people who are really well dressed and you say, my gosh, this really looks great. That's how I feel when I look in decor magazines. This really looks great, but I have no clue how to pull it together. So I just default to what I'm comfortable with, which is white. But I was able to use their color visualizer, and I was also able to use their lighting box just to get a sense of how the colors I am drawn to can look in my property. It was really helpful. So if you visit the color shop, you could do like me and pick up all of the things here, pick up all of the things. So I was able to actually get some colors you want to see. I love looking at these kinds of products because the truth is I would not put this together, but when I see it, I really like it. They had a number of booklets that just showed how color can come together in your space. And I'm excited to get started. As I mentioned, when it comes to choosing wall treatments, paint and finishes, because I now know there's a difference between the finish and the color of the paint, we tend to just think about the few products that we know. But they have products like interior wall finishes, exterior wall finishes, wood tech stains and varnishes, primers and sealers and undercoats, stuff for the floor, stuff for the roof, and ceiling finishes. So it's a lot to consider, but it was so helpful when they told me that someone will come out, and this is not a special service for Bajan Renovation. You can call and make an appointment for someone to come down to your property and measure and make recommendations based on what you are doing. So trust and believe, I done put in my call and saved my date, but that's another one of those great services that you may not know about, and they're going to measure. Because the next question I had is, how much paint do I need? Because I would have gone like I did in Terrific Tiles and said the wall is this long. Apparently it doesn't work like that, but they will help you. Now about that trip to Light and Power, I'd mentioned in a previous episode, this house does not have any electricity or any electrical wiring. So there's nothing to reconnect. This entire house has to be rewired, which means we had to set up, we being the contractor, had to make provisions for a temporary electrical supply. So the contractor put in this structure, and then I was given a letter to take down to Light and Power. The letter comes from a licensed electrician, right? Very simple process. I took in the letter, went to customer service and paid $370. Now, $70 in that was the service fee for them to come in and run an electrical source from the pole here. And the other $300 is going to remain on my account, and it will be drawn down as the months pass as my contribution towards the electricity bill that is going to be generated as they use it. Now, I was told, I mean, if anybody wants to correct me from Light and Power, now's the time. I was told that this letter is valid for 6 months, and that if the renovation goes past 6 months, I have to get a new one to come back in. Simple process. Get the letter, carry it in, pay your $370, and wait for your electricity to be connected. So you guys know you can ask me anything about this project, and one of the questions I've gotten pretty frequently is questions about property insurance. So good news, I will be speaking with an insurance provider very soon, but I'm going to answer two of your questions now. Do I have insurance for this property? Yes. Did I have to get it? Yes. I have been told by others that you don't need to get property insurance to get a mortgage, but I will say to you, I have worked with 4 separate lenders in Barbados and all have required me to put insurance in place. Now, I don't know who they didn't get their insurance from, but I can tell you, I always had to have before the property closed. Now, you're asking, what exactly are you insuring when your property looks like this? When a property is going under significant renovation, and by significant I mean pulling out windows and taking off roofs, digging foundations, you get what's called contractors all risk insurance. It is an insurance policy for the project. When the project is done, it converts into a homeowner's insurance policy. I'll get more into that in an upcoming episode. But another reason why people were asking about insurance is because it's hurricane season. Now, this is my little soapbox moment. I've worked in insurance for a brief stint, and I can tell you this. If you do not have your property insured at its replacement value, you are rebelling against yourself. Please, please, please. We hear the insurance companies talking about it all the time. It's not enough to just have insurance. It's important to have insurance that covers the replacement cost of your property. People talk about things called underinsurance or the law of average that applies to policies. In essence, what it means is that if you have your property if you bought your property for $200,000, you insured it for $200,000 15 years ago. Your property is now worth $500,000. What's going to happen if there is a catastrophic peril like a hurricane and you lose the entire property? Your policy is only going to pay out the $200,000, right? What happens to the equity? What happens to the other $300,000 that is really your investment in the property? It is gone. So we're going to talk about insurance soon, and we're going to also talk about contents insurance, because trust and believe, right? Until you make that last payment on your mortgage, this house belongs to the bank, but the things in the house are yours. So please, as you look at your policies, also consider getting property insurance to make sure that those things that you own and will need to be replaced immediately are covered. I'm Kelly Johnley, sitting on a pile of rocks because our videographer Shaka thought it would look good. This was Bajan Renovation.